Alright, let's look at another problem that actually occurs fairly frequently in a meet. So the problem is a couple of things. One is that you may have a card for a swimmer that you don't have in the computer. So typically what would have happened here is you would have gone through and you would have put times in for all these guys, and this should give me a warning, and sure it does. Alright, this will give us a tie for first place. But now all of a sudden I got a card for another swimmer. Maybe Julius Davis from College Heights, for example. I got a card for him for the 100 free. Well, so let's go in and figure out what we do. The first thing we do is we look at the meet planner and make sure that Julius Davis was actually entered in the 100 free in the meet planner. If he wasn't, then that's an issue that we bring up to the referee, because in that particular case, then he doesn't get that swim awarded to him, and instead that he just swam 100 yards for nothing. So, assuming that he was on the meet planner, we don't have to check with the referee if he's on the meet planner. We go to athletes, and we go to Julius, and now in this case he was already entered in 3 other events, but we click him, and it says he's already in the maximum. We're going to do that in this case, and then we'll go back into the run menu here. Well, here's a problem. Julius isn't listed here. In order to add an athlete to event, you then have to reseed the event. So now I'll go to seeding, and this is where instead of clicking select all, I only want to select the event I want to reseed. But it won't let me do that, and the reason is because this says done. After you put the time in for all the athletes, it won't let you reseed an event. So the trick is to put all the times in except for one, and then if you try to seed, you'll see it's available for us to select, and we can do this. We'll get a warning that it's already been seeded, and then we'll hit yes, and then we can exit the seeding back to the run menu, and then we can put Cam's time back in, but we can also put the time in for Julius that he received. We'll say Julius is really fast, and at that point in time we can score the swimmers, and we get this tie for second place between Cam and Noah. And this is another case where it's okay, it's not a sweep, because you see there's no gaps. But whenever you have a tie for first place or second place, then you won't actually see the single point awarded for third place, because what's happening is it's taking the 3 points for second place and the 1 point for first place or third place, adding them together to get 4, and then awarding half of those to each of the swimmers that tied. If we ever have a tie for third place, you'll see both swimmers getting up half a point. Okay, so that's one condition that often happens. Something else that happens is you just plain don't get a card for a swimmer. For example, maybe Noah Lucas actually, we have no idea whether he swam, but we didn't get a card. There's a couple of things you can do. Usually what we like to do is wait just a little bit before we start printing the event out and calculating the score. But one thing we often do is we'll go ahead and put them in as the missing people as no swims to just keep the data aligned. So if you want to do a no swim, all you have to type in is S. And if you want to do a DQ, all you have to type in is Q. And it'll prompt put this in. So that's something else that we'll do. Now typically what I'll do is I'll go out to that person's coach. In this case, this was a College Heights coach, and I'd go to Coach Ashley and ask her, did Noah Lucas swim this event, because we don't have a card. If it happens to be a butterfly or a breaststroke event, especially for the younger swimmers, what's usually the case, of course, is that that swimmer got DQ'd and the referee had to grab the card in order to write up the DQ slip. Okay, so let's go back to our checklist and see if there was anything else we were doing. So we are running the meet as the cards come in. The next thing that we will show is to print the labels during the meet, and then we'll also check for triple winners. All right, thanks.